What's going on, people? Gerald International, glad to be back. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm excited today. I have a great friend of mine, Corey's joining me today. Before I introduce Corey here, let him say a couple things. I want to say this. I want to thank all those who have been following us. Thank you for your views on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is kicking up. Just thank you for all your support. It's something I don't take for granted. And I thank you guys for passing the word around too. So remember, the month of March is, the word for March is maximize. But also too, make sure you keep passing the word. Hit that subscribe button so we can increase our viewership. So, all right, so today is gonna be special. Corey, you want to greet the people real quick?
How you doing, everybody at home? Corey Dickerson, known as Corey Street on Facebook and Instagram, stuff like that. But happy that I could be here with you today.
Today, Corey, let's talk about your background, where you're from. A lot of people probably don't know some of the things as far as how you were raised, siblings, and all that kind of stuff. So let's start with that and rewind the tape for us.
Ooh, rewind the tape. I'm originally from North Philadelphia.
Okay.
Logan section of North Philadelphia. I grew up there with my mother.
Okay.
And the community. I always say that I grew up there with the community. I'm an Aoni Powell kid, Police Athletic League kid. Mm-hmm. I grew up in the Powell. Mom was at work, so it was either school, home, or I was at the Powell. That's where I was allowed to be.
Okay.
And I think that really was a huge foundation for me, and definitely led me to where I am now. Mm-hmm. Obviously, my dad has always been in my life. But he moved to to Williamsport, Pennsylvania when I was younger. Mm-hmm. I have 5 siblings, 3 brothers, 2 sisters. All right, I'm kind of in the middle, that middle kid. Sometimes I hear him grumble about that. I get the middle kid treatment.
Right.
But I'm blessed with all my siblings. One's a lawyer. 3 of them are professionals as well. Mm-hmm. One's an aspiring professional CrossFitter down in Florida.
Okay.
So everybody's doing their thing. We all stay very connected. Family has always been huge. Mm-hmm. Keeping that bond has always been huge for us.
Right.
But that's why I grew up in Philadelphia. We all grew up there, and then somehow we all migrated here to Harrisburg, except for one of us. He's down in Florida.
Okay. Okay. So I know there's sibling rivalries and stuff like that growing up, and when it comes to sports and things like that, were there any backyard brawls, anything of that nature with any of your siblings?
The dynamic of my that sibling structure was interesting. So we did have those.
Okay.
Not with my sisters. Always supportive. One's younger, one's older. Always supportive. And my younger brother was always, Duran. It was always that. It was always that quiet, unsaid rivalry, right?
Okay.
But it was so positive. Like, I knew it was there. Some of the things that I did, he wanted to do. Mm-hmm. If he didn't get it, if he didn't do it better, not equal, if he didn't do it better, you could see it all over his face, right?
Right.
And he lets me know that sometimes that those are the things that helped him out. My older brother, it was that typical sibling rivalry.
Okay.
I remember one Christmas, the parents weren't home, and we got into an argument, and he pushed me into the Christmas tree. We were real young, like I was like 10 or 11, and I remember because I couldn't get out the Christmas tree. Like, I was stuck. I was like, "What's going on?"
Uh-huh.
I went for the frying pan, or it was one of those. We've always we had that relationship up until probably college, and then it became more of a. I think I started listening. I started paying attention. Right. Instead of having to answer back, I started listening.
Yeah.
He's always been that big brother, that mentor, especially in our later years, right?
Okay.
Like, look, you calm down, you're not listening again. So,
Right.
But yeah, I have stories for days. Too long for this.
I'm sure you do. Yeah, we all do. That's why I asked you, because I know the competitive nature, the competitive guy you are. I know you guys probably. Yeah. But Duran is a great athlete, man.
Yes.
I had some good times with him. Duran knows my son real well.
Yep.
From Susquehanna High School. So, real great guy. And so, tell us about let's get into high school career. You know, I know obviously you was a basketball standout, you know, great career. But tell us about that and anything else, you know, from that.
Yeah, like I said, I grew up in the POW, so Police Athletic League, and in the POW, you know, it's not like it's a lot of money, unfortunately, going into community centers in Philadelphia or any urban city. So we had ping pong tables in a side room, and we had a basketball court, right? And it was only 2 courts, a full court. And if you wanted to play, and that's where we were spending most of our time, of course I wanted to play, you had to win, right? You had to win to stay on. And myself and a few of my buddies, like we started going in there at an early age, talking 10, 11, and the older guys were on the court, right? So it started out with them not letting us play. Right? No, you're not old enough yet. So then we could shoot around in the middle of their games. Then, you know, they started seeing us do things around like 8th grade. They started letting us play. We win a couple games. They get upset about it, and next you know we're beating them. Like 9th, 10th grade, like the guys I grew up with, we were already traveling, you know, Florida, obviously close places, Atlantic City, North Carolina, to play, you know, travel or AAU basketball. One of my closest friends, Ronald Flip Murray, he's played 9 years in the NBA, so I was passing to him. So that made the job easy, right? So, no, but that competitiveness and that love for the game started real early there.
Okay.
I went to Julia R. Masterman.
Okay.
My neighborhood school was Aonee High School. Again, my mom worked a lot, and all she asks is that I stay on basketball and I keep my grades right. And to help with that, she had me test into Julia R. Masterman, a college preparatory school in Philadelphia.
Okay.
So there was a huge benefit to that. I saw diversity early on. I saw how important grades and education was very early on. The negative side is, and not so much negative, I played basketball at Julia R. Masterman. There were about 5 guys there, and they're still my friends to this day, from 9th grade to 12th grade, that really were basketball players. You know, the rest of the guys just played.
Yeah,
You know?
I get it, yeah.
But 5 guys that were really basketball players. But we were spread out over an era. So I had one that played with me for all 4 of my years, Sean Mumford. He's a doctor. He went to Bloomsburg University. Both of us ended up scoring 1,000+ points in high school.
Wow.
But we played against the Philadelphia Public League, right? So you got a school who graduated, my graduating class was only 86 people. And we're competing against Simon Gratz, where Rasheed Wallace went, and Shelby Mansion, where Ronald Flip Murray went. Like, so yes, the education was, and the opportunity, more than just the education, right? The opportunity was so much better than a traditional public school. But then we had to go into the Lions then when it came to sports, right? But again, that competitiveness grew. I learned how to deal with adversity. Like I said, we did take our lumps, but we put on a show.
Right.
I was all public, my all public and all city my senior year. I was small in stature though. Like I said, I put up a lot of points, but I was small. I wasn't the most athletic guy. Got a lot of college interest, more from the D2 and D3 level.
Okay.
It's funny, coming out of Philadelphia though, I went and visited East Stroudsburg. They'd offered me a 4-ride, and Bloomsburg 4-ride scholarship, and I went and visited, and I was like, I cannot go here. Like it was. We got there at night. It was dark. I was like, there's nothing around.
Yeah, right.
I looked at Sean. He's with me. We went on all our visits together. I was like, I can't do it, man. I can't. There's no lights out here.
Right.
He went to Bloomsburg. He had a great career. I went to King's College. In Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Not a big school, so it was close to what I felt at Masterman. There were at least some lights. You know, not a big city, but there were some lights. More importantly, the coach really wanted me. He showed that he really wanted me, that he loved me, he loved my family. So I went where I was wanted. I came in as Division III newcomer of the year before I even stepped on the court.
Wow.
That was based off of what I had did in high school. And but they let me know really early on that D3 basketball was no joke either.
Right.
And that, hey, this newcomer of the year, he's got a bullseye on his back.
Yeah, right.
You know, again, my first year, we were 2-22. 2-22. And my coach, I went home for Christmas. I can remember. I was like, I ain't going back. It was already bad at that point. And my coach was like, just stick with me, and we're gonna do some amazing things. I'm gonna get some players. I start recruiting from back home, guys that I knew the next year's coming in. I ended up scoring 2,000 points in college. I was all conference my junior and senior year. D3 honorable mention All-American my senior year.
That's what's up.
We won, and we won. More importantly, we won.
Right. Yeah.
Forget all the individual accolades. I always wanted to win.
Yep.
And we ended up putting together 2 pretty good seasons my last 2 years.
Wow. I knew you had a great career. I've always known that. Deshaun Walker.
Yep.
Me and Deshaun go way back, and I remember years ago. I don't know if Deshaun is watching now, but years ago he used to tell me about you, and Corey and Ron. He used to talk about y'all guys, from Philly, and but yeah. So you just shared a lot there. I want to pinpoint something. What helped you stay focused as you was growing up and even into high school?
I mean, there's no one answer to that, right? It's and that's why I always start with first. When I say I grew up in Logan, and I was raised by the community, the power and the community.
Okay.
Police athletically, if people don't know, because it's not as big as it used to be. There's a power officer in there, a police officer in there. He runs the power.
Okay.
And obviously he's seen it all, done it all, and his job is any kids in there that show interest in something to keep them, right?
Yep.
To make sure they don't end up on a corner or getting in trouble. And he saw that. He saw that in me and that core group of guys that I would be with. And he would let anybody in, but he saw that. And he really invested in us. And to this day, we owe him big for that. His name was Arthur Chapman. And then after him, Mike Pittman came. There was always one that came every 5 to 7 years that really, really cared about the kids and invested in us. We weren't playing basketball. It took me to my first basketball game, my first college and NBA basketball game.
Okay.
Skating, we didn't even skate, but we went to the skating ring on Thursdays. Why? Because Chat was taking us.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And he was more of a friend, an older friend. If we were bussing, telling jokes about each other and bussing, he was bussing too.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So,
yeah.
but we knew when he was serious. We knew the things that he wanted us to do. If you got in trouble at home, he was kicking you out the gym too.
Okay.
Right? There was no basketball.
Oh, good.
Right?
Good.
So
yeah.
that love for the game just helped that out as well. And then it was also like, sometimes it's missing here in this generation, and that old head, if you will. Like, that generation that was older that had already made the mistakes would see things in you and say, no, you're not standing out here.
Right.
Where we at? Go in the gym, right? No, you can't do that. No, you're not drinking, you're not smoking, you're not doing that. Stay over there, right?
Yeah.
If you want to come over here, I'll show you what you're gonna get with it, right?
Right, yeah.
All right, so that's huge, and a lot of them guys know what they mean to me for doing that. For me and my other guys that I grew up with, but that dynamic is more important than people think, because a lot of times we look up to those guys.
Oh yeah.
But they can either say, hey, come this direction, or they can say, no, this ain't the direction you need to go. You can do something different.
Right.
And we had a lot of that in Logan growing up, a lot of it. Guys that just were like, I already made that mistake. You're not gonna make the same mistake. And then my dad, it was funny, like my dad lived in Williamsport, and people were always like, how is your dad so important to you in Williamsport? It was easy. My mom would get on the phone, even though they weren't together, they were together, right? It connected that way because of me.
Right.
She would get on the phone, Jamil, Corey said this or did this. 3.5 hours, I knew he was coming, and I would sit there and be waiting, like, oh, it'd be the worst agony, like, I know what's gonna happen when I get down here. And he came down, and I got disciplined for whatever was going on, and he would, stay for a while and then drive back. Always let me know that he loved me, and but again, I had to deal with that as well.
Wow.
So it really was the community, man, and the whole that neighborhood that I attribute for getting me where I am. Starting with my mother as being the foundation.
Wow. Man, that's incredible, man. I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people see Corey, the professional Corey, the things you're doing in our community, the great things you're doing, working with people, collaborating. There's a lot of great things, I've had a chance to speak with you about. But a lot of people don't know Corey, the man. You know what I'm saying? So it's just good to give people an opportunity to hear and see where you've come from. Because we're a product of where we came from.
Absolutely.
We're a product of that. So I definitely appreciate you, opening up and expounding on that. And the college thing, I think that speaks volumes too, as far as going where there's a phrase that people know, it's a common phrase, or the viewers may have heard it before, but go where you're celebrated and not where you're tolerated. So that's important. You went where you were celebrated.
That's huge.
Not where somebody said, all right, we'll take you.
That's huge.
You see what I'm saying?
That's huge.
So we're gonna wrap this episode up. What we're gonna do is we're gonna run it back on Thursday. So make sure you tune back in on Thursday. Check us out, 7 o'clock. Thursday we're gonna get into some things Corey is doing now over the past several years. He has the guy's multifaceted. So we're gonna expound on some of those things, get him to share some things, and then we'll go from there. So, all right. Again, Corey, thanks for being on with us today, and we'll be back Thursday. Guys, take care. Always remember, you're destined for greatness. Be encouraged, and we'll see you on Thursday.